ever again. That's when I started pursuing business. And the business guy said, take all the math you can. So I took math every semester I was in high school. Bar none. I took every math course at school every year. So I can count to 100. That's when I started. It's all about counting the money.
Sure.
Yes, I'm listening to you. No, I'm good. Thank you.
Brandon, good morning. It's a, how are you?
Good morning. I have not set up this hybrid system before, so can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. I was just curious if there are any commissioners in the actual conference room
Yes.
where it appears you may be.
One moment and I will give you the tour.
I'll be
Alrighty.
65 years old tomorrow.
Wow, happy birthday.
And I didn't think I'd make it. My wife died 12 years ago. And I thought that when she died, I was going to live. I'm serious. And this is not a joke. I thought I was going to only live 5 years. Because men,
Hello, Brandon.
nobody can tell you eat your vegetables and your broccoli. Because I thought potato chips and ice cream was a food good. Dude, I've grown up since then.
You sound like my father. My mother passed in 2008.
Uh-huh.
And my father felt the same way.
Yeah, I didn't think I was
They've
gonna
been
make it.
together since he was 18 years old. But
I'll leave it pointed at the door so you can see people as they arrive until.
No, I was just curious. I was counting heads to see about a quorum.
Well, we'll see. We're not sure.
But I didn't think I'd make it.
Well, it's going to be close. So
I was kind of planning, because I said, I'm not gonna get 65. I think that, so. Like,
okay, Mary Ann
yeah.
sent me a
So what I did, I
text.
traveled.
I have to read it. I just realized.
I went to, my wife was alive. I took her to Paris twice. I took her to Paris once. Took her to London twice. I took her to the major cities in Canada, Toronto, Canada, and Vancouver, and things like that. I went to every city in the United States, many people more. Did a lot of stuff, but my
My
first
new
thing I
Doris
said,
is here.
went to China and Hong
Well,
Kong.
I shouldn't say that. I
went to
believe that
Alaska
she's
and
here
Hawaii.
because she asked me to send her that book by email.
We are streaming live on YouTube, by the way. Okay.
There's shared bursts.
I called, I told both my children, I said, I'll go, I said, I already got a hotel room in the Hilton Hotel in downtown Anchorage, Alaska, on Second Street. It was right off the river. I mean, they were fishing on trout in the river, not trout, salmon. Thank you, salmon in the river.
Good morning.
And I couldn't,
So, Brandon,
it was related to me.
Yes.
Everybody.
would it be appropriate to mute everybody until the chair calls the meeting to order?
Yeah.
Let
me see.
Go down to 10 o'clock.
If I can do that.
I had fun. I
This
saw,
is
I-
what you had asked for.
I saw,
I think I
whales
forgot.
swimming in the old.
Thank you.
75 tomorrow.
Oh,
And I wanna do a stand-up comedian act next month. We're trying to get a comedy.
Congratulations.
I didn't think I'd make
I
it.
think so. And Commissioner,
I just wanted to let you know.
oh, I did get your message. Yes.
That's a blessing.
And my doctor ordered me, vitamin B12. Walgreens called me and said, we got some more medicine for you. I'm like, you can't have any medicine for me. And then I get to the pharmacy and she said, the doctor ordered vitamin B12. Because we had a 15-minute discussion on vitamin B12. I was trying to eat meat to get on my vitamin B12 in. She said, I take pills. So she ordered pills for me too. Oh, and I'm sorry, it's for reduced memory loss, reduces dementia, and reduces depression. That's what vitamin B12 does. Those three things. Just general information for you if you plan to take this stuff. Or eat
Okay.
food.
okay.
I'm
me-
sorry.
It is now, it's 9 o'clock or past 9 o'clock, and based on people here, we have all of the commissioners here except for Commissioner Linden, Stringer, and Word. So given that, let me call this meeting to order. The first two things is confirmation of the quorum and confirmation of the public notice.
The notice was sent and we do have a quorum.
Okay, any requests for the public for public participation?
No public participation.
Okay. So the next item on the agenda is the consideration approval of minutes of the meeting held on January 19th. I have a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion to approve.
Been moved. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second that those minutes be approved. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions? Minutes are approved. The next item is consideration approval of the special meeting held on January 31st, 2023. May I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
The second?
Second.
It's been moved and second that the minutes of January 31st, 2023 be approved. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Those minutes stand approval. So the next thing on there is we go to the executive director's report. Interim director will give us that report.
You have Terrence's report in the transition in the book that was provided to you. I just wanted to add just a couple of things. During the transition, things that I will be focusing on will be, the number one will be the staffing. We're going to continue the process right away to try to fill, well, not try, we will fill 2 enforcement officers and 1 enforcement supervisor position. And Brandon will be sending information to those of you on the administrative committee regarding hiring of the executive director position. So we'll keep going with that. We are still, I guess there'll be a discussion regarding the retreat strategic planning. I was told that it was on hold. My understanding that it still may happen. And so we're going to work to see what needs to be done to make sure that, to ensure that that happens. In regards to the office relocation, we have gotten in contact with staff from Real Properties, and we're going to work with them to see what has to be done, what the protocol is, what the requirements are for moving and the availability of space to move and what's needed. So we'll continue on with that from what was already started. And right now, we're just kind of going through all the paperwork and what needs to be done for the transition to make sure that I have the authorities that I need to do the work that I need to do during the transition. I have virtual meetings with our liaisons with HUD and EEOC so that we can make this as smooth as possible.
Any questions from any commissioner?
Yeah, what size facility are you looking for? I'm just this is a curiosity question. And I don't do anything with real estate.
Right. Well, I don't, what's our square footage right now? I'm not sure.
Our square footage right now is about 13,000 square feet. We recently received an offer from Real Properties that is about 10,000 square feet. It's about 17 offices, which should house all the staff. We have not viewed that property yet, and there are some proposed renovations that they want us to pay for the build out, flooring and painting and a few other things. So, and one of the main concerns is parking in that location due to some of our staff having mobility issues. So Cynthia was going to look at that property as soon as humanly possible. That's the Chestnut Center on 4th Street. So yeah, we're looking at about around 10,000 square feet. We did an office space request form through Real Properties, and I believe that was about the area that we were looking at.
So does the space on Chestnut Street fit what was in that submittal?
Yeah, I believe it does. I haven't seen it and I have not seen their floor plan. I've seen some pictures of it. So we're gonna definitely have to tour that.
Well, as you work through that, just remember we had out of the last commission meeting, the last regular meeting, we have a committee that was appointed to work with you, which Commissioner Smith chairs that. So, rely on that committee in terms of they're there to help and support where it is, but making certain that we do move forward. Wanting to address what I consider to be sometimes unlivable conditions within the space which we're in, and want to make certain we push that and make certain we get the staff in a place where they can work in conditions that are acceptable and standard. The absence of an elevator, no heat in the winter, no air in the summer is not standard conditions. So just be aware of that.
And we
Are
will,
we the only tenant in this building?
no, but it's very sparse right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
If I may ask, is any of this space, the former space or current space of Kentuckiana Works?
I believe that the Chestnut was the former space of the local Human Rights Commission, the Louisville Metro Human Rights Commission. I think that was their former space, or part of it was their former space.
Okay, I'm familiar with the building as it relates to the Kentuckiana Works office, and I just wondered if they were still there, or if this is a different floor. So I'll be happy to work with you, Cynthia, on this.
The second on, and when we fill those 3 positions, will our staffing be complete in terms of all the funded positions that we have?
Yes.
Sort of. Other than the executive director.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
right, yeah.
Right. Those are, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none, let's go to budget and personnel. Brandon.
You have my report before you. I'd be more than happy to field any questions at this time.
Any questions for Brandon? Okay, I see, let me find, I had one, I'm looking at telephone charges E815. Is that all that it hit 1 month because we hadn't paid for?
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's a couple months payment. And it's pretty standard month on month. We have 800 service, long distance service, and our usage, our access fee for the lines, it comes out to be right around $700 a month.
Okay, but I'm looking at January's charges. If I'm
Yeah.
on the right line, it says. Am I looking at the right line?
Yeah.
The $5,022.69.
You are. So
And it says $700 a month.
That's right. And I'm gonna have to look at that. I'll have to look at that and get back with you.
That's close to a year right there.
Yeah, but it shouldn't, there may be other charges that are in that, and I will have to, I'll have to take a look at that and give you an email.
Okay.
As to what exactly is included in that. I should have picked up on that beforehand.
Any other questions for anybody? Anyone else? As we talk about personnel, one of the things that I guess that I know I need to know, took pretty much a hands-off approach, came to meetings, listened to what happened in meetings, but in terms of what is literally going on within the office, who the personnel are, where we have holes, where we have gaps, and all of that. And never really got into that. And I think that during this transition, it's an opportunity for this commission to get better in tune, or at least me to get better in tune and align with what is going on, what the functions are, and who's there. One of the things that I had wanted to discuss, and we had talked to Terrence about, is for the retreat or the strategic planning session was this organization year after year after year has had its budget cut, has had staff reduced. But in terms of what we try to do, we continue to try to do the same thing with fewer and fewer people. And so we've got to end up being strategic in terms of what we can realistically do and make known to the governor's office as well as to the legislature, where the true funding of this organization is and what we can really do. Not everything that's in the statute can we implement and try to do. And I'll talk more at the end of the agenda about whether we need to have the strategic session or not, or what needs to go on. I'm of mind that we need a session. I'm not necessarily thinking that it needs to be a strategic planning session as it needs to be an informational and educational session for all of the commissioners.
Would it be feasible to get like an org chart with the job descriptions of everybody that's currently working in the commission, and then show the new positions that you want to hire so we can see the holes of what's going on? Because there are some people in the commission I haven't met yet. I tried to meet everyone, but I haven't met everyone in the commission.
Right.
So that would be very helpful before our next meeting.
Can I add one more thing before we stop my report section? I would like to draw attention to Juan Pena's 20 years of service that was official last month.
Is he here?
Yeah, he is. Juan, would you like to come in and get your report or get your certificate?
No, I thought he was going to be here.
Good morning, this is Juan. I would like to be with you all there, but I'm working from home today.
Okay.
Thank you. I had forgotten about it.
All right. Well, we do have a certificate suitable for framing. I tried to find a frame that would fit it, but I didn't want to cut it down without your seeing it first. So.
Well, congratulations, Juan.
Thank you.
20 years of service. It takes a strong commitment and a will to work to, in fact, to accumulate that many years, particularly in this day and age in terms of employees and employers in terms of work. But congratulations to you on 20 years of being with the commission. Any other commissioners would like to add anything or say anything?
Thank you, Juan. We appreciate all your work. I want to commend you on how you represent the commission and your travels around the state, and your presence is felt. Thank you so much.
Thank you, commissioners. It has been a pleasure working for the Kentucky Human Rights Commission, and I have learned a great deal about the state and the people as well, and the needs of the people. I come from Mexico originally, and different culture, different society. When I came to the United States, I thought I have learned a lot throughout the workshops and trainings, and just living and just looking and meeting with people. So thank you.
Again, thank you for your years of service and for the next 20 that you're going to give us. Okay. So next we'll move to the enforcement unit report. Cynthia.
Okay. For your consideration today, we have 19 cases on our case recommendation. 8 of those cases are not, no probable cause cases. 1 is a dismissal without prejudice. 6 are no jurisdiction cases, and 4 are withdrawals with settlement. And I'll answer any questions that you may have.
Questions from the commissioners?
So who was the mediator? When that would have February 1st.
The mediator is gone. He's not, gone.
Commissioner Cheney has a question. We can't see it. But she's
Commissioner Cheney?
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. I did have a question on 1160-PA on page 1 of the commission book. This is the case that involved the individual at the bank not wearing sunglasses and a hat. I have a couple of questions on this. I do have some concerns. Specifically, the wondering if there was if the policy to not wear a hat or sunglasses into the bank branch was displayed so that the customer was aware of it prior to entering the business. And I am a little concerned that another customer of a different race who also had on a hat was being served while wearing the hat simply because they were personally known to a teller. That's not a good benchmark. That tells me that the policy was likely not being applied evenly unless the policy itself says that the individual, if personally known to the teller, could wear attire that was otherwise not allowed. And just simply put,
I know that it was indicated there was a office policy, but I don't know if it was posted, and I don't see in the CRC if it was posted. Is Chad online, Brandon?
He is not that I know of.
well, if I'm going into a restaurant, the sign on the door that says no shirt, no shoes, no service. Not that I would be unlikely to wear a shirt anywhere. But at least I'm aware of it. So in this case, the African-American customer went into the bank wearing a hat and sunglasses. And while I understand that in the information that we have, it says he was not denied service. He was in fact denied equivalent service because he ultimately went through the ATM instead of receiving service from a teller. So I've got some difficulties with this one.
Commissioner Cheney, in the write-up, it says that the policy was posted. And when I first read through it, I had the same concern you do. It said it was posted, but then it said also that the other customer with the hat actually took the hat off to be whatever their camera system is prior to being served.
I saw that, Chair. The issue is, in my mind, the issue is that they were serving a Caucasian customer because they knew them personally, and the customer had on a hat in violation of the policy, as opposed to the African-American customer being asked to remove their hat. That does not seem like fair and equal treatment. So if nothing else, I just want to voice that concern.
It's the investigator on that can address it more, and that's Cynthia.
No, he's not on.
See if they did like any field testing with different people, different races that went inside and what they did.
Yeah.
If you want it pulled, we can get more information.
Let's pull
Okay.
that one.
We'll pull 1160 PA for additional information.
Thank you.
Any other questions, commissioners?
I guess.
I wanted to just add a support to Commissioner Cheney on that and what is the practice. I think when we pull it for more investigation, the practice of that location in enforcing its policy obviously was not being done for that particular customer that was already there or that was in there. So I do hope that we could find out in the investigation more about and monitor that particular branch and how they're carrying the policies out routinely.
Any other questions?
Just in regards to that one, when more information is given, I'm not sure if I'm not reading it correctly, but is there a way of knowing if the other customer was told to take off his hat before that whole incident? I think that would play a big part in the information, just so we can find that out.
Any other follow-up question you want answered as this case is being reviewed further?
I didn't have a question about a case particularly, but I don't know if I'm reading this correctly, but on page 46, it says average age 350, total number of cases 30, or the numbers transposed. On page 46, it says average age 350. And total cases 30. Are those factors?
No, there's 30 cases.
They're housing cases.
These are PA cases. The average age of those 30 cases is 350 days.
Okay, so
Yes,
it is.
that is correct in 30
Oh.
cases. And besides, each investigator received their average age.
Okay.
Chair, there are a number of cases in the case book over which we apparently have no jurisdiction. I'm wondering if someone can just provide some context around that, please.
Joe has his hand up. They're all school cases.
Yeah, just to clarify that. So these are complaints by students against the schools they attend. Though schools, as far as they relate to students, don't qualify as housing, employment, or public accommodations. The proper authority to complain to in those cases is the Department of Justice. They handle complaints by students against schools. So we've referred all of those complainants to the Department of Justice for them to pursue their grievances.
Okay, I had the same question. Any other questions on those cases? Okay, on 2034H. My question on is Mendez versus Ruby Pettit. Pretty skimpy write-up. Was there not more to that?
This is a recommended closure from the legal unit. Joe, are you familiar with this?
Yeah, that's a pretty old case.
Okay.
And it involved a dispute over a housing between a housing provider and their tenant. The case had been dormant for a long time prior to me taking the job here. We reviewed the facts, talked further with the complainants and the respondent, and as far as we can tell, the dispute is really over something other than discrimination. And so, I mean, based on the facts that we have in the file and our further, further follow-up with all the parties, we reached the conclusion that we didn't have probable cause to suspect it was discrimination, unlawful discrimination, that it was something else that led to the dispute.
Okay. In 9424E, what was the disability?
That is, Andrew. Oh, I'm sorry, you said 9424E.
E, right.
Wanda Melvin. Is she online? If not, I can get it. Okay, that's good. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, Cynthia, I'm here.
Oh, she's here. Okay.
Chair, we cannot disclose the individual's disability.
Was her disability verified or
This person did not have a disability. But even with the cases going forward with disabilities, we cannot disclose disabilities. We know what they are, but we can't disclose it. But this individual did not have a disability.
Okay. Any more questions? If not, what I'd like to do is have a motion to approve the staff recommendation in this first motion, excluding cases 1159 PA and 9596E. One relates to the University of Louisville physicians, the other relates to G Appliances, for which I was general counsel for several years. So I have a motion to approve.
Wasn't it 1160 PA, the banking center case that we were?
No, we pulled that, we
Okay.
pulled that, and so that's not included in the motion at
Okay.
all. No, it's just those two. I have a motion to approve those cases with those two exceptions.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Now, can I have a motion to approve 1159 PA and 9596E?
So moved.
Or second?
Second.
Been moved and second that the case be approved. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. It passes, and notice my abstaining for participating in those two. So I'm gonna skip over education and outreach so you can go ahead and give your legal unit report, and then we'll come back. Go ahead, Joe.
I appreciate that. Thank you. So as far as our report goes, not too many updates. An update on the first one, Showalter versus Eric Troyer. That is the case in which you all you approved the recommended order by the hearing officer. The respondent in that case did not file an appeal, but is currently opposing our effort to enforce it in the circuit court. It's kind of an unconventional opposition to our enforcement, but that is still pending in court. But they did not actually appeal your order. So your order should stand, and we're just waiting for an opportunity to talk to the judge about that case. We have the Jenkins versus Family Dollar case. We're in settlement negotiations currently. That has moved on very well, and we're just finalizing a settlement. And then our other cases are currently in discovery. We've got depositions scheduled and mediations in the works. As far as the appeals, McKenzie versus KCHR, the Court of Appeals ruled in our favor in that case. However, Mr. McKenzie has filed a motion for discretionary review with the Kentucky Supreme Court. That is currently pending. We, of course, have filed a response in opposition, just supporting the Court of Appeals ruling that he could not appeal a finding of no probable cause. We have that the reduction in the housing cases on pre-charge activities. That is the Mendez versus Pettit case. Then finally, an update on the civil actions in which we have an interest. Joyce Turner versus Norton Healthcare. We filed an amicus brief several months ago. That case is now slated for oral argument in mid-March. To assist the attorney, Joyce Turner's attorney, the legal unit will be hosting a moot oral argument at the law school in early March. If you're interested in attending or knowing more about that event, I can send you that information. I believe it's scheduled for March 7th. And it will be hosted by the law school in their courtroom. And a moot oral argument, in case you don't know, it is just a practice session where several people impersonate the justices of the Supreme Court while the advocate practices their oral argument. And our interest in this case is that the KCRA be harmonized with the Americans with Disabilities Act as it currently exists, and not with an old version that's been abrogated by the Congress years ago. So we're working with the plaintiff's attorney to get him well prepared. I think that case is in really good hands, and the private attorney representing Joyce Turner is well suited for the argument. So, but we're going to try to assist.
Is U of L any of their professors or folks involved in helping get this prep done?
Yes, I invited Professor Ariana Levinson, who is the employment law specialist at U of L Law. She will be assisting as a member of the panel, and I've got other invitations extended that I haven't heard back from yet. But so far, for sure, it will be me, Colt Sells, and Ariana Levinson, and we'll probably have one or two others who will assist. And students are invited. The plaintiff's attorney said that students were welcome to attend, so it'll be a nice educational opportunity for the students and an opportunity for the commission to promote itself a bit and its work. So hopefully that will go well, and I'm looking forward to it. Any other questions about that case? If not, the next case is Payne. The Payne case, we filed an amicus brief in. It's been sent to the merits panel, and we're still waiting to hear back from the court on that one, on which way that will go. And then finally, an update on the Nelson versus Metro case over a photographer's religious opposition to serving all customers equally. We filed our amicus brief in the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals at the end of January. That was accepted by the court. We got consent from both parties to file it. If you're interested in reading that amicus brief, I'm happy to share it with the commissioners. We focus primarily on their argument under the Kentucky Religious Restoration Act, Religious Freedom Restoration Act, and we argue that the courts should avoid giving a blanket exception based on religious opposition to equal treatment. We cite extensive precedent why that would not be appropriate, and also the wider effects that it would have on not just the protected classification of orientation, but also on race, national origin, and ironically, religion itself. It would allow religious opposition to serving all people of all faiths equally, and that's a problem as well. So that brief has been filed. There were other supporting briefs for Metro from the ACLU and Americans United for Separation of Church and State. The brief from Chelsea Nelson will be due, I think, next week. And so we'll see how that goes. I think last thing, if there's any questions, please let me know. I don't believe we're still working. We have our interns from the University of Louisville are working great this semester. We've got them on various research projects. We are also investigating additional amicus briefs in new cases. The Kentucky Court of Appeals recently ruled in a retaliation claim under Section 280 in a way that does not comport with precedent, and we're concerned about that. But we don't know yet if the plaintiff's attorney is going to seek review. So always on the lookout for cases we can help with, but also our cases are moving along quite well, and happy to answer any questions you have.
Any questions for Joe?
Joe, thank you for such a comprehensive and clear explanation where those cases stand.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Any other questions? Okay, hearing none. Thank you, Joe, for your report. Next, education outreach, Mary Ann.
Juan is going to give.
Yes, good morning. This is Juan, Human Rights Specialist. Miss Mary Ann Taylor, Education Outreach and Intake Supervisor, was asked me to do the report for her. I believe you have the report, so I would be happy to answer any questions. If I don't have the answers, I'll just refer the questions to Miss Mary Ann Taylor and get back to you. Do we have any questions?
Any questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. Next is committee reports. As it relates to the committee that's supporting the building and all of that, we already heard that. So that's the status of where that is. At the, I guess, January 31st, special meeting, a special committee of the board, which I call an administrative and search committee, was appointed. And what I'm looking at a charge that committee with, one is leading the search for the next executive director, but also administrative in terms of being available to the interim executive director as it relates to administrative matters to ensure that the office continues to run smooth, things are taken care of, so that there really is a liaison or a person that the executive director can reach out to and be able to do things on a regular basis. I know that Brandon has been sending material to members of that committee as it relates to the search in that process. And so we'll continue to work with that. One of the things that you mentioned to me, Brandon, in the material was that the last time we went out for a search, we didn't post it in the state government, I guess, job file in terms of openings for purposes of determining whether anyone would be interested in it. Was that not done for a particular reason or just an oversight?
It was, I don't know why it was not done. It was the hiring committee chose not to do it.
Well, I think this time we want to look everywhere.
Yeah.
And in all places in terms of being able to do that, utilizing, there are all of these, I guess, online search engine or search capacity things. Let's look and see to make certain we cover the waterfront in terms of where we are, to make certain what we're doing what we need to do. Madam Chair of your committee, you got anything you want to add?
Well, I would like to thank Brandon. I did reach out to Cynthia and she passed a message on to Brandon to pull information, and they sent that to us. And I've had a chance to look at all of the information yet, but I wanted to send out a message to the committee so that we can make sure that we go through thoroughly the information. And again, look at the charge that you've given us moving forward. And I have been in touch with Cynthia discussing issues or anything that's going on with the commission that we need to be made aware of, that she reported, with the executive director's report, additional comments that she had to make today. So I have been keeping in close touch with her to make sure that everything is going well with the commission. But I will be sending out information to our committee so that we can get together to get the ball rolling for the search for a commissioner.
Anything any other commissioner would like to add, or any questions for any other commissioner as it relates to at least that process that we're putting in place and following?
The only question I had, so the last meeting we had, and Cynthia accepted the position, so that is formal, and there's nothing else we need to do in regards to her being
Nothing
acting
formal.
executive director?
I've already signed other things I need to do with Brandon.
Yeah, I processed it in the HR system and detailed a special duty.
Okay.
So we're good to go. Mr.
Will
Chamber.
Terrence be available for an exit interview, or have we reached out to ask him about that?
That we're gonna,
That was one of the charges to the
yes,
committee.
that's one of the charges that we have as the search committee, the exit interview with Terrence. That's gonna be on our plate.
Okay.
Two questions.
Yeah.
Number one, I might have missed this. Who is serving with you on the search committee?
It's on the minutes.
In a minute.
So let's- I get it wrong. You got this in front of me.
So it's Commissioner Sarr is chairing it. Commissioner Smith is on there, Commissioner Cheney, and I think Commissioner Henry. Am I right?
You are, and Commissioner Stringer.
That's right.
That's the five. Yeah.
And what is the timetable we're looking at?
I have not set a timetable, but what we want to do is to be thorough in the search and find the best possible candidate for the position.
We just started receiving documents that we pulled from the past search to look at that as a starting point moving forward.
Other questions?
I have a follow-up question. I noticed several emails about some kind of parting tribute to Terrence, and I'm just curious, where do we stand with that?
I have the card and the gift on the table in front of me. It's being signed by the folks who are in the room. We'll have to figure out how we get other commissioners' signatures on it.
What is the gift?
It's a gift card, so you can choose what you want.
What's the amount?
$100.
No, Chair, if someone could email after the meeting and let the commissioners know how they might contribute, that would be appreciated. I think the question had come up prior to today's meeting, but I'm not sure folks had a chance to address it.
Okay. Any other questions regarding the committee, the work that they're going to do? Okay, let me go into I guess the other thing that it relates to it. We had at the last meeting had agreed that we would have a strategic planning session on March the 15th. And was thinking that we were down the road in terms of getting facilitator, getting all of that aligned and ready to go. I found out in the last 2 weeks that has not been done. So we don't have a facilitator. That hasn't been arranged or any of those things. But as I said earlier in the meeting, given this transition, I think we ought to still have the March 15th session as a session for this commission, these commissioners, to get better grounded in the work of the organization, to better understand what our staffing is, what roles and responsibilities are, and what we can do realistically. I guess I've been on here since December of 21. It's December 21. Or something, or not, maybe 20. Okay, 20. I couldn't tell you who all the staff people who work for the commission are. And I think that we need a session in which we sit and hear and learn from staff in terms of what we're doing, what's being done, how it's being done, where there are bumps in the road, where we need to shore up some things or at least change direction. So it's very, very clear in terms of where we are. I learned that, part of the reduction in staff is in part attributable to us having had positions that we didn't fill. So we lost some of those in addition to the cuts that we've taken. And so I think we need to be better aligned, better in tune with what's going on to be able to drive that, and at least from a commissioner, if not drive it, to be informed of it, so that when we vote or do things, we make informed decisions based on having all of the information and all of the facts. But I think it's important for us to be able to do that. the planning session, at least the way it was originally discussed, is whether the facilitator was going to have one day or an afternoon with the staff, go through everything with the staff in terms of getting staff feedback. The next day was to share that with the commission as we went through that, to be able to determine, strategically what it is we are able to do. So I think it's important for us to be able to do that. I think it's important for us to better understand the budgeting for the organization in terms of how it's budgeted, what's budgeted, what funds are available for what purposes. As I say, I've been around here for that, and I can't tell you that. I think from a process standpoint, we really need to know how we operate. So when I asked for a special meeting and I got pushback, other than that was how meetings were always called. So I think we need to establish what's the process, what the procedures are. So regardless of who is executive director or who's sitting in this chair, that people know and the process works and going through it. And I think it'd be worthwhile spending, I don't know what it's the morning and afternoon together, but spending whatever time is necessary to do that. And then our next meeting is on March the 16th anyway. So
I think that's a great idea. And also the committees, there would be a time that we can meet together if possible, in person,
right,
especially for the search committee.
Other commissioners, reaction and thoughts. Not all
I
at
think
once.
that this is Commissioner Henry. And as far as I'm concerned, that sounds very good for us to have open communication. And I apologize for not being available in person. I'm on the other side of the state and I have to depend on someone else to transport me. So sometimes it's a little difficult and I do apologize. That's my problem. And but nonetheless, I'm very dedicated to the commission and the work that has been achieved. I've been very familiar with it for many, many years and appreciate the fact that we have such a fine commission here in this Commonwealth. So I just need a little more notice so that I can prepare myself for whatever special meetings that you would assign in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay, so anyone else?
Chair, and I may be wrong, but did I understand that we have not identified a facilitator? I thought Terrence in one of his reports said that he had conducted several facilitator interviews.
I think we were told that, and I guess the other day or this week when I was informed that it had not been finalized.
Okay, so there was some progress. There just wasn't any resolution, I guess.
Yeah, I guess a nice way to say it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other commissioner? Any other thoughts?
Chair, this is not related specifically to the retreat in March, but I did send you an email and I copied Vice Chair Smith on it. I sent the email to you several weeks ago with a suggestion. I didn't hear a response. So a suggestion about a potential speaker that I thought would be worthwhile if we ever had an opportunity as a commission to have outside speakers to help get our batteries recharged.
Yeah, I got that in heaven. I guess about the time you sent that was also the time that we had notice of the transition, and so it got lost in the show. But I think one of the things that when we meet on March the 15th is to talk about these meetings and what we'd like to see and accomplish in these meetings. Now it is we get the reports, we read the reports. There's some discussion, but not a lot of discussion around it. And so we may need to look at it. So speakers to show up to engage with us. Or, we talked about inviting the human rights commissions in the cities and counties around the state to join us for meetings. We talked about moving our meetings around the state to provide it, given an opportunity to do that. I think those are the kinds of things that we need to discuss on March the 15th and come to some kind of resolution. So we have a game plan going forward. And it will be good for that, because if what comes out of that can be a roadmap that we give to the next executive director in terms of at least what the expectations of the sitting commissioners are at that particular point in time. So everybody go ahead and put March the 15th on your calendar. And the commission meeting itself will be on morning of March the 16th. With Cynthia, Brandon and Joe and several others. We'll work on an agenda, and we'll put together a skeleton agenda hopefully in the next week, send it out to you. I'm asking each and every one of you to have some input into that agenda and what it is you would like to see, discuss, or be involved in. And we'll get that out.
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
All right.
Is there any other business or matter to come before this body today? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn, sir.
There's a second. Been moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meeting is adjourned. The meeting is adjourned. Thank all of you for this. And thank you for the work we're going to do in the next few months, because it's going to be a lot.
Yeah.